It's the big easy hoon and the small easy hoon.
Well, KT on the blue side this time around, and the Victor band still coming out. They have no plans on using it, so they'll just take it out from Frozen.
And Hecarim one more time. Hecarim, Rise, and Evelyn. Now, they gave up the Callista KT last time, and KT couldn't convert. Not really because of the Callista pick, but because of some poor decisions.
Yeah, it was unfortunate, because the Callista was doing just all right in the laning phase, and got even a kill early on in the lane to even things out with a dive, but didn't happen. And so I mean, if they ban that out on blue side, I'm pretty sure they're going to ban the same bans, or at least similar with the Hecarim and Rise here on the purple side. We'll see what their last ban is, though. Progress being banned out by KT.
LeBlanc would be a typical ban against Frozen, and one that KT considered very seriously in that first one, but no, they will ban the Callista.
They're looking for the LeBlanc pick, I think.
They must be.
Yeah, Nagne also plays a pretty good LeBlanc. Now, generally, a lot of teams have started to shy away from first picking LeBlanc for a number of reasons.
I don't know. I think it's fine on blue side. You're not going to have that opportunity to counterpick the mid lane most of the time anyway. True. So if you have a really good LeBlanc player, LeBlanc is safe in most matchups. Just get the LeBlanc. Who cares?
And so the Evelyn ban, Longzhu, I am aware of that probably, but still just going to give up the opportunity. And yes, the Zillion really opened up after that. 3 bans here. The Alistair also is still open. Okay, well, you know what? Giving up the LeBlanc at the same time isn't the biggest of worries, especially if you secure the Alistair. That kind of makes picking LeBlanc a little bit harder for IM, and then you can secure it for yourself in the second rotation.
Yes, indeed. You speak the truth, and that may force IM into a Nautilus pick or another tankier support, possibly Braum.
Okay.
Even though Fixer, the typical Braum player.
Yeah, well, Ingnar also had some really good games on Alistair, so they're going to take that away from him. Fixer played Alistair quite well in the previous game. And IM, well, they still want to take that LeBlanc away. Frozen plays a really good LeBlanc. It's banned out against him for a reason. And even with that Alistair on the other side, they want to try to go for this Assassin Frozen-centric game in game number 2.
Wow, that would be a huge mid-game burst with the Rumble. And Apple now shying away from the Gnar. Gnar falling all the way through the picks and bans after some unsuccessful stints in the regular season after the qualification for Apple. And they're going to go for the Sejuani Rumble combo, another very powerful combination. Just like we saw from the Varus ult and the Rumble ult in the last one, you could do much the similar thing, except easier actually with Sejuani.
Much easier. It is AoE with Sejuani, and at the very least, even if you slightly miss, you're going to get the slow to make sure they either have to walk on it or flash over the equalizer. Variety of more options. Sivir is available. Yeah, Sivir went all the way through both times actually in the previous one, of course. Primarily because IM came in with the plan last game for the Varus Vayne Gragas combo. So this time Rolster looking at picking up that Sivir after the Callista ban.
What are they going to pair with this Sivir, though, in the jungle? Could you see that Rek'Sai for score?
Yeah, it is a little odd.
Well, Score plays a lot of Nunu, too, so I'm a little bit interested to see what he does here with so many junglers already out. And they're going to show the Fizz early. Now, it must be said, the Fizz has been played a lot in China with Cinderhulk in the top lane. I think it's terrible. But we don't know where the Fizz is going.
Yeah, I mean, it is a flex pick for sure.
Fizz can also be played in the jungle.
Yes. I mean, yeah, definitely in the top lane. And possibly in the jungle, as some people have been trying it out more and more again recently, and then absolutely in the mid lane, as we saw in the previous match from Samsung Crown.
I think Fizz in the mid lane is mostly just a counter pick. You're not going to want to really go for that pick unless you have a very favorable lane matchup. But yes, it's still a possibility.
And
yeah,
the Malzahar.
Nice try.
Oh, man.
That was not going to happen. Grush Vayne. Much more reasonable pickups, and they have an option to counterpick with the Varus again here. It would be an extremely similar composition, the only difference being the Sejuani instead of the Gragas.
All right, Fizz, where are you going?
It's top lane, Fizz.
I have faith in Score.
He switched to Smite, his top lane. Whoa!
Oh, I have faith in Score.
Well, I don't know what's happening anymore.
Well, okay. If anyone in LZIM is walking alone on the map, they can pretty much count themselves dead because the Rengar, Fizz, and the Blanc are not going to let them live ever.
Wow.
Just need 2 of them to really get a guaranteed kill, even 1 at one point if any of them get big.
Well, I haven't seen a Rengar in quite some time. I don't know where this is going because
This is a huge flip.
I don't think IM knows what the hell's going on either.
Wow, this really throws everyone for a loop.
If I had to bet, it's top lane Fizz.
Yes, I would think so too.
But it's,
although, against Rumble,
it's someday, though. I think
it is someday. And someday knows how to punish, so you just have to get that 1 kill or 1 advantage by chasing him out. Now,
bold, very bold to take
Wow.
Varus against this composition, that's for sure. Because those Rengar ganks would be absolutely brutal against Varus. IM thinks they have what it takes to make it work. They made it work in the last game.
oh man, I don't have a good feeling about it because
I don't
even
think you
against
take Varus
LeBlanc, even if you try to poke her out, she can just counteract the poke by coming in with her distortion. And she can double distortion at the very least to even out the trade, and she gets clear while doing that. I mean, it just feels a lot worse than the last game against the Cassiopeia. LeBlanc a little bit more mobile in terms of trading, but we'll see. I mean, IM at the same time, they are up 1-0. They just want to try it again. They're feeling good about how things worked out last game.
So, since it is a Smite Fizz in the top lane, this is going to be one of the China special Cinder Hulk top lane Fizzes.
Well, good old Someday. He likes to play some of those crazy champions in the top lane, and he makes them work.
He does make them work. That's the, well, sometimes. His top Riven's pretty bad.
Sometimes he fails really hard, flops on his face, but most of the time he comes in with that confidence, and this is one of kind of the big parts about Someday's advantage is that he's not afraid to try these picks, and again, like you mentioned in the very beginning, Monty, he knows how to press the advantage once he gets it and really deny the enemy any farm or any way to catch up. So we'll find out how this crazy composition unfolds for KT in game number 2 between KT and LZIM. Still lots of people left in the studio as we go later into the night to watch our second best of 3 in game 2. Lanzhou IM leading 1-0 with a very quick and decisive play in game 1.
And running nearly the exact same composition as well. It's a composition that I'm not a terribly huge fan of. Seems to be it presents a lot of risk, and the Varus Vayne combo, not a whole lot of synergy. But if they can hit the Rumble and Sejuani ults, they'll be able to clean up very effectively with Vayne. So
Yeah.
it's a very strong composition in the mid game, that's for sure.
It does work a little differently though, right? I mean, now you're definitely trying to stagger all 3 ults actually with Varus too.
I like this composition a lot better with Sejuani than I liked it with Gragas.
I do agree. While Gragas helps Vayne, I mean, if they're locked up all the time anyway, it doesn't really matter whether they're together or separated.
Right, and Sejuani ult feeds into the Varus ult so nicely that
I think it's more consistent.
it's
for sure.
definitely more consistent. Now, KT, not sure what's going on over here. Score, if we think back to the spring season, back when Rengar was a little bit more in meta, Score had a lot of Rengar bans against him. He did.
True.
It was a champion that a lot of people were afraid of when Score was playing, and he was great at using the Rengar ultimate. But Rengar just falls off so hard, and KT's pretty much going to have to play this as a pure pick composition. They have the speed to do it with the Simmer and a lot of single target burst damage, but they cannot fight a 5v5.
No.
And they can't really counteract the poke. So vision is going to be really important here. Someday going to take the Gromp and then recall back to base.
Now, LCIM at the same time, I mean, they just always need to keep a couple pink wards around, and as soon as you see the Rengar coming in, you have the Arctic Assault, you've got the Harpoons, you've got the Hail of Arrows, Chain of Crush. I mean, so many ways, even from the bottom duo alone, to get rid of this Rengar's initiation. So, and another thing to note, KT because of the other spells they've chosen in their solo lanes, doesn't have an option for exhaust. Takes that ignite just to front load the pick damage. But if they can't get that and we go into the late game, Roar is going to run rampant in this game.
Yeah, it's a very good point. Nagne also taking cleanse on this LeBlanc, which is odd.
Yeah,
there is a lot of CC, but at a certain point, you have to at least be confident in yourself to dodge that and take the ignite so you can get a kill.
Whoa, Apple going really hard. It flashes forward and actually doesn't get the harpoon nor the steal.
Oops.
So Apple actually just missing out on his flash.
That could actually be huge.
Yeah. I mean,
he's in a very precarious situation against two assassins that can come into his top lane.
Oh, wow.
I mean, that was pretty bad.
Yeah,
Score can really abuse him for that moving forward.
Yeah, he also missed out on a little bit of CS there. Not too much, probably just 1 or 2 as somebody was pushing back out. But
it was a clever idea, and had it worked, it would have been great.
But I do wonder if he had to flash there. I
no,
mean,
he absolutely did not.
Score was so low. And, she is a senior in high school. But just so the last game she's probably going to watch, where she has to continue just hard studying for more exams and preparing for college going forward to next year. So cheering on for IM, hoping for a win. Well, they're definitely looking good after the first game. I'll say that.
We're just waiting for this action to open up right here. I'm curious to see how much Score is going to farm versus whether he wants to try and take a brush gank in the mid lane.
Yeah.
If Frozen pushes out, he's going to be really vulnerable to hop out onto an E.
Yep. At the same time, I mean, Frozen not dealing with Cassiopeia this time, so not too intent on trying to poke even on that trade. And Score looking for a possible lane gank, staying right behind that vision line. Very
Walking
careful.
to try right now, so no wards there, just a ward in the rear. Fixer can flash pull, however.
Yeah, he could have, but we're going to see Score not wanting to spend too much time. I mean, he has so many other targets he can try to gank. We'll go ahead and first of all clear this pink ward. That's going to be really nice. That'll allow us Nagne to feel a little bit safer. Yellow Arrows just to get a little bit of CS and harass onto Nagne. Frozen running slightly low on mana, though. He's going to take some extra damage from the Sigil.
And now he's really starting to fall behind. He's very scared.
Yeah. Oh, the second harpoon not hitting. That could have really forced somebody out of the lane. But I think somebody might want to go home as soon as the next wave clears. I mean, he's got the region for now. He's got some more pots. But then his teleport should be back after the next wave and a half. But we do have actually Tucson in the top lane. So someday, no flash. Of course has Playful Trickster. But you can just wait for that to come back down.
You know, the more I think about it, the more I like Fizz in this composition against Incredible Miracle, because that Playful Trickster is going to be able to dodge the vast majority of IM's AoE damage, their Wombo combo. And then, when you have a challenging smite, you can just drop that onto Varus or Vayne and duel them in the back line once their cooldowns are up.
Yeah.
So there is, I think, a lot of validity. Now, usually when we talk about Cinderhulk Fizz, it's going to be the challenging Saber into Cinderhulk into Frozen Heart. So also good against double AD.
Yes, that is true. You kind of go for the bruiser Fizz in that top lane, just relying on your natural damage from the damage over time and your on hit through your skills. Go forward and get some bruiser items.
Yeah, no Trinity Force with this build typically, though. At least not the way that a lot of the Chinese top laners are executing it currently.
Well, I think, yeah, especially if you're going to go for the Smite build, it just gets too delayed. You don't have a really good timing for that.
Yep.
Maybe you pick it up as a 6th item if it goes that far, but
it's mostly just tankiness and the ambient area of effect damage that's going to be working for you.
Yeah. And there we go already. Finishing that Saber. We're just going to walk back to lane as it is slightly pushed up. Apple just going to use the Equalizer to clear that out a little bit. Trying to deny the wave as it is going to be some time before somebody gets there. So good decision. Quick on
Interesting invade. That is dangerous.
Tucson, he does have backup. Now Fixer walks forward. Tucson's really greedy about this, but there's a lantern. He gets headbutted back, though. And Juicin is caught onto Score. Score's just going to get the first blood, gets the red buff back. Fixer just standing on top of the lantern, laughing at his opponent.
I don't know why you would try that red steal. Your mid lane is pushed in. Your bottom lane is Vayne. You're playing against a Rengar who's going to be building Warrior Enchant who can solo you. That was a ridiculously risky attempt at a buff steal for almost no value.
Yeah, I mean, now...
Even if you get it, it's not even a big deal.
Yeah, I don't think Score was really too concerned about necessarily being with the red buff. I mean, it's nice, but it's going to be the burst damage and the lockdown from Score that's going to be really scary when the ganks come in. Of course, also, the invisibility helps quite a bit, I heard. So Juicin now very sad in his own jungle. We'll just go over to the Raptors and go over to his own red.
These have no pressure. You can't make that play in a professional setting. It's times like these where you really see Juicin not fully adapted to how jungling works at the pro level.
Someday just camping out in his own brush. Now he does have Chum the Waters. So he was just looking for an angle, but Apple playing it very carefully. So Someday will return and just farm.
Here comes the big dive.
The triple assassin. Oh, man. Well, there's a ward in the tri-brush, but you don't
wards
need to go
can't
through
see
it.
the Rengar.
Yep, Rengar just going to go forward. Where is he? Uh-oh, here he is, and he doesn't get the lockdown.
The bola.
Yeah, Apple just going to flash out immediately so that Score doesn't get that chance.
Yeah, smart flash though. Wasting Rengar's first gank
Yeah.
when you're trying to get the fizz rolling is very effective. Definitely worth the flash if there isn't any more follow-up from that one. And on the what's his ult called?
For Rengar, oh, actually, good question. Always just assume that it's just gonna
On
happen.
the hunt is
Sivers.
Sivers. Damn it.
On the prowl.
That's another hunt. That's another hunt name.
Well, we'll have to.
Everyone's a hunter in League of Legends.
That is true. Everyone is the hunter and everyone is the hunted in League of Legends. But during that gank, we did see LZIM able to take that Scuttle Crab on the bottom side, so they have a little bit more vision there and also stability in terms of LeBlanc's movements.
Yeah, someday, like you said, already with the Challenger Saber, now getting that Cinder Hulk, but Apple really hasn't been under too much pressure in this top side, not falling behind too far. And Juicin now galloping on his pig through a ward.
The thrill of the hunt.
So many
for a Rengar.
Somebody on the hunt, thrill of the hunt, whatever.
Well, he is technically on the hunt.
I'm tired of ability names.
There have been, I mean, there's a lot of glacial things going on.
Glacial Prison, Glacial Tomb,
Fissure.
Glacial Fissure. Why is everything a glacier?
Why can't it just be Frozen Tomb? You know? Well, it's because, wow, now I don't even remember what region they're from all of a sudden, but...
Freljord?
Freljord, there we go. That's what's going on.
My favorite time in League of Legends ability naming history was when they forgot actually that they had already named something Soul Eater. When they released Ahri, her passive was called Soul Eater, and they didn't realize that Nasus's passive was also called Soul Eater.
I remember that.
When the champion designers forget that they actually named something already, that's when you know you're in trouble. They're like, oops, but they changed the name.
That was good. Good stuff right there. Well, no, it's been a little quiet after that first blood from the Mystic. Oh, he scores here again. But it's so pushed up again already.
These are bad ganks.
Yeah, and Apple's going to get caught this time. Somebody's a little bit late to this one, so Score just takes a bunch of tower damage.
Apple's playing smart, though,
Apple
to his
is
credit.
playing really smart. I mean,
he's very ready for these ganks to take place, and he's not committing at all. He saw that there was this big wave going. He's like, nope, equalizer, don't want to be a part of this. I think that your Rengar's going to...
Oh, but the flash is down. There's Chum the Waters. There's the challenging smite, and somebody going in for the burst. He is going to get the last auto attack after the Trickster comes down. So Juicin trying to counteract that with a dragon. Now, the assist didn't go to Rengar, but the point is somebody got a kill.
Blanc is coming in. This is dangerous. Juicin getting very low.
block does he distortion over, and he's going to. Oh! He doesn't. Tucson does get the smite right at the end and also makes it out alive.
Yeah, try to get the burst down in order to get the steal. Score.
They're waiting for Apple to teleport into this turret. Apple's not going to buy it. He's been targeted too many times. He knows what's going on, but even walking up could be really dangerous here. You see all these pings, all these exclamation marks.
Oh, God.
Wow, but to have this patience from Apple.
I mean, it's fine. He's losing a ton of CS, so KT is winning this either way.
Yeah, but getting a kill would be even sweeter, and he's being really patient. But here comes Ignar trying to deny the lantern. Oh, he just pulverizes right on top of it. It goes away right on time, and Apple goes down. And the kill going to Someday. This is exactly everything that KT wanted.
Some days, or Apple rather, is like one of those prophets who can foresee his own death but can do nothing to stop it anyway. He's like, no, they're all here, guys. They're here. So there's no counterplay.
Oh, well, I mean, what can you do? You either sit there and miss CS for the next 5 minutes, or you go in and you have faith in your teammate, and Ignar got the lantern out. But
there was nothing wrong with that play. That was extremely cautious from IM, and they still just got chain CC'd.
Fixer really playing that well.
Yeah. And now Someday actually going for a Sheen, so this is a bit different than the Chinese Cinderhulk fizzes. He wants damage.
All right. Good old Someday. Needs to hard carry the games.
I mean, the thing about Someday is we saw what he can do on a top lane Yasuo. He dominated the opposition.
No, he's a really scary top laner.
He crushed CJ, so.
He's mechanically very talented. He understands damage trades very well. His calculations are on point. It's kind of like watching the old stars in Korea, like Magnoon and Rebird. He's really growing up to be one of those players.
And Apple has got home guard boots, so he can run to his death faster. I wouldn't want to play in that top lane right now. Cinderhulk Fizz with Sheen and a Warrior Enchant.
Well, that's
Rengar.
why he's jungling, man.
Yeah, I would just jungle. Screw that.
Jungle Rumble. Rumble in the jungle. A sad day, but the necessary.
What else are you going to do? It's basically just a one-way ticket to feeding otherwise. I think this is absolutely the smartest call.
Yeah, I mean, just getting behind is much better than getting Someday super ahead. So Someday's like, all right, where are you? I'm going to more deeper and deeper until I find you at one of these camps. Someday just content with shoving up this lane. I mean, Someday also has so many wards deep in the lane now from the earlier 3-man gank that he'll know when Apple is prepared to return to lane. And then he'll start his diabolical plan going on the killing spree. There's Apple's just going to equalize each wave and then go back and farm jungle creeps.
It's like, I got all the minions, guys. Not wasted.
All right, well, 2 levels ahead for Someday because of all of this. So still going to be a really rough game for Apple. But IM can rest assured that Rumble still does damage eventually as time goes on with that ultimate. It's just
also this Rengar is going to fall off super hard.
Yes.
Compared to Sejuani, he's just going to be terrible in the late game. Doesn't have that same tankiness or presence or AoE CC, really only useful. Very one-dimensional champion at the moment.
Yeah, and Ignar and Tucson looking for a gank, and the Glacial Prison only gets the slow. Oh, good poke coming in from Frozen, but had that hit, the death sentence would have connected, and it just would have been a kill on to Score.
Score had to pop his ult too, so at least there's an extra layer of safety now.
Very true.
Arrow's job is just to clear out a minion wave now while Roar is in the bottom side. Wave clear robot Arrow.
The Scuttle Crab is here. He's going to wave clear and give vision and movement speed to the Rengar. Well, you know, and we were talking about Rengar falling off in the late game, and Fizz is known to do that in the mid lane too, somewhat, as an assassin. But when you go Bruiser, I mean, you still have that value of just sticking on with that smite onto the enemy carry. And so that's why it's so important to get these early kills onto Someday so you can actually fill up in that mid lane too, especially if you're going Trinity Force.
And I'm curious if he is going Trinity Force. I haven't totally written off the Lich Bane yet.
Okay, fair enough. We didn't check his runes and masteries. We'll keep an eye on that the next time we see him on the screen. Nice Boomerang Blade back to trade there against Roar's basic auto attacks. And Ignar going for a death sentence. It's going to go right out to Fixer, and Apple's here. Fixer not wasting any time to use Unbreakable Will as soon as he saw Apple.
Apple is jungling, he's ganking. Apple basically is a jungler right now.
Double jungle LZIM.
He's lane taxing when he can't get anything. Meanwhile, Sumday's like, oh, well, I guess you're on the bottom side. Time to take your tower. This game has gotten really weird really fast.
Yeah, well, this is the game that Someday wanted. And he asked for it, he got it, and Score is going to get caught. He didn't ask for this, but there's a teleport coming from Someday. Tucson gets locked up by the chain. Nagne taking a lot of damage from Frozen. There's the equalizer, but he dodges out of it. Someday trying to chase through. The Chain of Corruption will proc onto him, and he will get snared. Now he has to face off against Apple, but he's still doing a lot of damage. Flamespitter comes in. Roar picks up a double kill, though. Cleanup duty for Roar. Looking for a triple, but LeBlanc is long gone, so not going to find an easy target.
Nagne gets out, but Nagne gets the only kill right there. Some missed skill shots as Roar gets a little bit caught, Score gets a little bit caught. Not really enough wave clear to actively siege this tower. Yeah. Take a turret hit instead. They're trying to set up, maybe they can go for this dragon. No TP on the Someday, and he's going Trinity Force. Does make more sense than the Lichbane,
because you're relying on your basic auto attacks at that point. And LCIM should be able to get the second stack for their dragon stats here at 18 minutes, 19 minutes. And so they're keeping themselves in the game.
KT deciding that they don't want dragons today, any at all, ever.
Well then.
Nagne actually has a Luden's Echo here for some more poke. Really interesting build. He's trying to match the poke from this. Oh, nice steal.
Oh, okay.
And there's a turret. So 5K gold, or 4.5 approximately, in the lead for KT Rolster, but they really need this lead because they're going to fall off so hard.
Yeah, Roar is just going to have a party if this goes into late game. And Score and Nagne, I mean, yeah, sure, Luden's Echo is fine on LeBlanc, but a little bit more starting with the Kleds, Nagne really shying away from the whole pick concept for himself, and Apple actually drawing out the Chum the Waters. Meanwhile, Tucson gets caught a little bit, has to take the Lantern out.
Yeah, not going to be too worrisome, however. He was taking the jungle, just trying to deny as much as possible. I mean, he is 50 CS up on his opponent right now, able to really convert a lot of those jungle camps into more gold thanks to his Saber. So IM has decided that their way they're going to do this is just by grouping up. And now on the opposite side of the map, that'll be a tower in favor of KT. Now he's going to have to recall. They don't really have any wave clear down here.
Yeah, LZIM trying to shove through before the Sivir gets here. I don't think they're going to see it happen, so they're just going to retreat. But this is the answer against a pick comp. You just group up and say, all right, well, what are you going to do when we're all together? Especially when your skills are so single target oriented. Score looking for nobody in the mid lane. Oh, he's gonna catch Frozen though. There's the snare and there's the chain. Chain of Corruption coming out from Frozen though with a lot of damage onto Nagne. Score does manage to finish him off with some extra attacks.
Yeah, he has to hit the double Q, but kills on Score really mean almost nothing.
Yeah.
Because he's not going to really buy any items that are particularly useful to the team. Yeah, he's got a Sightstone now, and maybe, yeah, that's it, really. As far as Rengar's late game usefulness, there's not a whole lot there. So you really want those kills to go over to more impactful carries.
Yeah, I mean, Rengar pretty much is just the intimidation factor and a snare bot the longer the game goes on.
Yeah, single target CC bot. Compare that to all of the AoE damage that Sejuani's going to do, the fact that she can CC your entire team, the threat is much bigger.
Malphite proven to be better than Rengar. Has AoE ultimate.
Late game, absolutely.
That is very true. I mean, Malphite can also do a lot of damage, but the early game is pretty rough for that guy. Well, so KT, I mean, their composition, as much as we could understand it, had a very distinct feel to it, but starting with the summoner choice from Nagne and then a couple mistakes from Score early on. It didn't really work out too well. Here's on the hunt, though. They're trying to find a target. Frozen flashes out, but that means Flash is down, and Nagne just gets his own chain there. Chain of Corruption onto Arrow and Fixer. Not going to matter as kill goes to Arrow. Sivir picking up a kill there.
And Score prepping the wave in the mid lane, too, so they can follow this up. This is what they have to do. Commit to getting these picks. Keep Frozen from hitting his power spike and then try and get objectives off of it. But in spite of the fact that this is a 5K gold difference at 22 minutes, it really doesn't feel like it.
No,
from
not at
KT's
all.
perspective, because they're not able just to run over their opponents. They have to use so many ultimates just to get a gank right there. And now as IM groups up, how are they going to stop this? Nice poke.
Oh, well, yeah, I guess if you take Vayne out of the scene, that's a pretty good way to do it. Nagne did take some damage from that, so should be very thankful that Sejuani actually wasn't in range. LCIM could have very well changed that in into
That was a
chain
good combo
CC.
onto LeBlanc. And you could see why the Luden's Echo was picked up here by Nagne early in the game.
2.5k gold advantage for Someday over his opponent. Has that Trinity Force finished? And meanwhile, a Hex Drinker onto Frozen just because of all this magic damage burst coming in before he can finish his other damage items.
That's smart to build that, though.
Yeah, I mean, it can still build into a decent amount of damage. And we'll give him a nice shield to avoid dying, and he'll be able to maybe get his own burst down through his spell rotation. We saw the damage he was doing to Nagne, and a lot of these times, if Nagne was alone, it could have...
Score ulted again, but couldn't make it work. Couldn't find the angle.
Well, that's a little rough. I mean, they still do have Fixer, but Fixer's flash is down. So it's kind of up to Nagne to just kind of poke the enemy down a little bit. No minions for LZIM.
All right, they may want to fight this. Someday's walking out of base at the moment towards the mid lane where IM is very intelligently grouped up. They want to push it, and they're a 7K gold deficit. They are bold to do this.
Yeah, well, look at, oh, Nagne getting some nice damage onto Apple, but taking a lot himself down to about 60% health. Someday has made it all the way to the mid lane, doesn't have to use that teleport. It is available, but he'll be seen, so LZIM aware of the fact that now it is a 5v5, which LZIM doesn't feel too bad about, but they are behind for now.
I don't really know why Someday... Oh, they're going to do Baron. That's why they came to the mid lane.
Ah, well, that makes a lot of sense. Double smite.
They know there's a
Arrow,
ward in that brush.
yeah, Arrow just standing right at the edge, and they're going to turn around with On the Hunt just to take out the ward. So dramatic.
Sick. Oh.
LCS big plays. Turns around for the ward. They clear it. Most of it, of course, just trying to see if they can catch an angle onto anyone who is showing up after they realize they couldn't guarantee that Baron.
Score's ult's almost back up. Uh-oh, Apple.
Oh, Apple just gets obliterated by Nagne. He doesn't hit his E, though, so Apple is going to get away for now. Flashes out of it. Arrow being slowed down. Someday, at the thick of things, he barely gets out. The Silver Bolt's proccing. The Roar gets 1 kill, 2 kills, and now he's charging forward. Flash used by Arrow.
Score did absolutely nothing in that fight. He ulted and then walked around to the back line and never came out of invisibility. It looked like he could have gone after 1 or 2 low targets, but was afraid of dying himself. Now they have to defend against this mid lane push. They get the dragon, but still their gold lead gets cut down.
Yeah, Nagne's still doing a lot of
Wow,
damage.
he's just
Roar.
getting barely out of range of that piercing arrow at the end.
Yeah. And a lot of that also was that Nagne not getting his E onto Apple allowed Apple to get onto the Lantern and escape. Had that hit, I think, you know, they could have just taken down Apple immediately first and then retreated, but not going to work out that way for KT. Score secures the dragon and then doesn't do much else. So look at this damage coming in from Nagne.
Nagne predicted that flash or the home guard teleport very well. Then Fixer starts to get bursted down. That's a really good chain of corruption, though. Now watch Score.
Top left, goodbye. So got the dragon, guys.
This, my friends, is why you don't see Rengar. And I'm not trying to talk down to Score. There's nothing he could do in that situation.
No, exactly.
If he goes in, he dies, and he probably can't kill Apple.
No, I don't think so. He would have just taken too much damage, especially the fact that he doesn't have MR, so Apple would have just evened out in terms of damage with the Leandri's Torment now. So, also there, Someday getting a little too eager to jump onto Ignar, using his ultimate on the Thresh. Wasn't able to follow through as he got Arctic assaulted by Tucson Sejuani.
Okay, well, they're starting to split push with this Fizz, but they have to hold this mid turret or all will be for naught.
Well, good poke damage onto Apple.
They have the Ludens. The Ludens is actually really working well this game.
Yeah.
For the LeBlanc.
Has the wave clear, has the poke. So
That was a very smart item buy with this particular composition.
has the move speed too, which is going to help a little bit against this Varus, even the Sejuani. Ward being cleared by Arrow at the Baron pit. Roar has been sent to clear that top lane. Of course, if Roar gets big, he's already at 4 kills, 259 CS. If Roar gets big, I mean, LZIM under most circumstances should be able to win this game. Has the QSS too.
Yeah, and that's, like you're saying, a pretty massive problem. Now, all the gold is on him, however. So if he goes down, that is going to hurt quite a bit. Someday has the tools to deal with him, too. You don't want to fizz with a challenging smite on top of your Vayne.
Yeah, quite a double-edged sword right now for LZIM. And Score activates his ultimate, gets vision of the enemy, and they can't do much. I mean, somebody was pretty far. I think part of it was Score wanted to check for the Baron that time, for sure. As they were losing out their vision. Nagne going in for, almost gets the kill onto Ignar. And again, I mean, this is LeBlanc's job when she's in a game. Just delete the enemy support first or the AD carry if they're not playing a Sivir.
Wow, that is such a tremendous amount of damage. He is 50 CS up.
He's pretty strong right now. And, I mean, Thresh, out of all supports, if you can get rid of Thresh, that gets sort of so much utility and defense from LZIM.
Thresh also isn't that tanky yet. There's no Aegis on the side of IM. They haven't picked up that item onto their jungler at this stage, nor does it look like they're likely to. Got the blue buff too.
Nagne steals the blue buff. That's really good. Just denying all sorts of power from Frozen right now. Frozen's being slowed down quite a bit since the early ganks.
It's crazy that he doesn't have his Muramana yet.
Yeah. He also just hasn't had too many opportunities as they get pressured and someone gets poked out. You can't carelessly use your abilities as much anymore. They've had to team fight a lot too, where Frozen only gets like one rotation of skills and then has to back out.
Still, well, I'm super surprised there's no Muramana at this stage.
It is pretty late. 29 minutes in. Says a lot. Last Whisper is finished, though, so as long as that Muramana comes through within the next minute or so, he's still there. And Score finally with that ultimate on the coming through, and flashes over, doesn't get the snare onto Ignar.
What's going on with this Rengar?
I don't know, but Tusin's going to walk right into the enemy team. There's the
not?
Pulverize. Nagne has shown up. He's going to have to back out as Tusin tries to jump onto him.
KT is so ult dependent that you can literally just walk up to them if they don't have those ultimates up and try and contest their objectives. Meanwhile, they're going to try and trade this tier 1 for a tier 2. KT knows they can't fight them right now.
Yeah, so LeBlanc just on watch duty here.
Base race time.
Lovely. Well, they're going to take the tier 2. And
I mean,
so
KT's winning the base race.
Yeah, Nagne now on duty to make sure people can't return, but is going to have to back out in case of getting condemned into the remnant of the turret.
They're coming.
Yeah, they're actually just going to walk all the way up. They don't even want to teleport back. They just want the kill so they can get the Baron. Score on watch duty here in the jungle. He's going to find Tusin. They're going to see Ignar, and Tusin gets knocked back by Fixer. Someday, being the little playful trickster he is, goes through the enemy base. Roar is trying to catch up with his ultimate, gets one hit, but somebody will make it out alive.
Yeah, the Trinity Force Phage active right there, very much helping Someday out. Yeah. And now they're back, so Inhibitor Turret, that was an extra tower, tier 1 and tier 2 for tier 2 and Inhibitor in favor of KT. It's a good call from KT.
Yeah, well done. And this now allows them to have a little bit more freedom in setting up these picks because LZIM has to always be concerned about that top lane inhibitor. And someday with that smite, just going to go ahead and start the dragon. But we're seeing, Roar gets caught by Nagne, but both of them have to back out. Roar using that QSS, forcing Nagne to not stick around. Somebody should be able to finish this dragon at this point. And then he'll just playful trickster out. I mean, LZIM knew that was going down, but then Roar got caught in the mid lane, so they got delayed slightly.
Well, KT is using their composition to give IM a giant runaround on this map. Very
well done.
It's smarter than this is what they have to do to win the game.
Yeah, they're just dancing around the entire map and forcing LZIM to just always be following their trail.
Look at this too, death cap for Nagne because there is not the slightest hint of magic resist except for one Negatron cloak on Apple right now. I don't really know why Tusin, I mean, the Fizz, obviously a threat, not from a magic
Oh,
pivot.
Ignar gets caught, and that is it for that support. Teleport coming in for Apple after the Glacial Prison. Nagne might be just equalizer right here. There's a shield coming in from Fixer. It's not enough as he has to walk across the entire length of the equalizer. Score also going to go down. What a good teleport in from Apple for the double kill. We might actually see 3 kills here for LZIM. They're going to jump out. There's On the Hunt activated. No Glacial Prison now. But that means the Baron should be pretty free. I mean, at this point, I think somebody should just keep pushing. Yeah, there we go.
I think he should TP to the ward that's in front of the inhibitor.
Oh, that would have actually been pretty smart. He should have been able to take that with the Trinity Force, but he's just going to keep pushing that bottom lane. And Arrow going to stick around in mid as everyone ports back except for Roar. Arrow does have to watch out a little bit. He'll retreat now, not going to stick around to secure that tier 2 in mid.
Still difficult for IM to take advantage of this Baron because they don't have good wave pressure right now. And LeBlanc will clear out the top side before they can get there. So there's going to have to be a lot of setup from IM. But that said, their 5-man composition and their 5-man siege is very strong.
Yeah. And here we go. They're going to start pushing up as a group. They understand that, especially with the Baron buff, this is kind of what they need. Also the mid lane, the only lane that's been pushed up. Now they'll go through the jungle to secure some vision before they move on up here in the lane. Gotta really watch your flanks. One person can just get caught out at the very edge, get bursted down, and then everyone from KT can disappear.
Yeah, well, look at the wards on their flanks, though. I am doing a very good job of placing them down as they walk in for the siege onto the inhibitor.
Yep. Score continuing to not be so helpful for the team. Helped get that kill earlier, but that drew them into their death, and a Baron for LZIM. Not that that's his fault, but again, it's just kind of limits of Rengar, and even as item builds, I mean, what do? You're forced to build tanky, but you're not meant to be a 100% natural tank. Supposed to initiate with that surprise factor. He's been trying to do, and LZIM just sticking around the mid lane, not bothering to split. Whoa! Roar gets a little close to the edge. Doesn't get double procs though from the sigil, so Nagne not getting his full burst down. He wants something from the side. Gets caught a little bit. Oh, there's a nice burst onto Roar, and that means LZIM has to back out.
Wow, it would be pretty amazing if KT was able just to stave off this Baron right now. And looks like the recalls are going to come in. Nagne has a chance just to go clean up the top wave one more time.
Yeah,
and there's just been a very low amount of setup. The problem for IM is with this Baron, they cannot split push or they will get picked. They have to group, and the minion waves just haven't been set up favorably for them to apply pressure by themselves. The side wave control just hasn't been there for IM, and there's nothing else for them to get right now. There's no dragon on even remotely on the horizon.
Yeah, there's no tier 1 turrets. Sure, there's tier 2s, but like you mentioned, the side lanes. Oh, but here's a Someday. He already used Playful Trickster, so here comes Roar. Can he get the Condemn? Actually, they're just going to flay him back. There's the Condemn, and Someday just cannot get damage onto Ignar nor escape. Good catch by LZIM, going completely for the round flank. And now they're trying to pressure this bottom turret. Of course, Someday not the #1 wave clearer of KT, so we'll see if KT can still hold this off. But the threat is gone from him entering from the side. So LZIM will pressure them off. KT also not as concerned.
Right, no more Baron, though. Just fell off right as they want to defend this turret with the wave clear from the loops.
Oh, Nagne goes in, but it actually allows Arrow to be caught as Nagne bounces right back. And LZIM is going to get an inhibitor just like that. One mistake is all it takes. 40 seconds until Arrow respawns. What more can LZIM do? They're going to transition into the mid lane. Now again, no minions though. That is a saving grace for KT Rolster right now.
Well, IM has just pushed this advantage, and this game is just such a good example of how Gold Lead is entirely dependent on composition, because KT, remember, up 5-7K at points in this game, but it's been so even just in terms of power because of the composition that KT chose to run right here. Normally, I really like KT's drafts, but today it's been a little awkward.
Yeah. And look at Roar, 5-0-1, has that Trinity Force on top of the static Shiv, super speedy right now. And that's really working out in favor of him. As soon as KT kind of uses their abilities, he's able to just chase everyone down with the extra movement speed. And he has a QSS on top of a Spectre's Cal. So he understands that because everyone's squishy, all he needs is that Trinity Force on top of the 2 other core items on Vayne. And now just going to make sure that he doesn't get 100-0. That's what's been keeping him at just about a quarter health every time Nagne comes in for a full round of burst. Now Dragon being hit by LZIM. They should be able to take it fairly quickly. And Nagne going in. Oh, Nagne steals it though. Gets a 3rd stack for KT.
The burst is so high from that LeBlanc with the Echo and the Sorcery Elixir. Still a little bit of a mistiming there from Tucson, but Nagne makes it work on his 2nd attempt of the game to steal a Dragon. Nagne's been the reason why KT's even been remotely in this game.
Yes. He's the one making plays happen. He's the one defending towers alone by taking Roar out of it. Roar does have a Banshee's Veil now, though, on top
Banshee's
of a QSS.
Veil and QSS. Well, that's probably over then. I think the jig is up now for KT.
You cannot kill this Vayne. You just simply cannot with the composition that you have, because you're so skill dependent on doing so.
Unless Roar gets picked off by himself, which has been more of something that we've seen from KT this game rather than IM. I have been very good about grouping.
Yeah. Now, and we also have Ignar looking at getting that Mikhail's Crucible, so Roar really not going to die at that point. Yeah, just KT just doesn't have an answer for this. Contention over the blue buff, and Arrow looks like he got it, yeah. I mean, Arrow hits hard too. Everyone on KT is starting to, or they have been for some time now, hit hard on their own, but it doesn't matter if you get overpowered by number and positioning from LZIM.
KT's comp just has no synergy outside of creating picks, and that makes it very predictable.
Yeah, well, it's gonna be pretty rough, like you said, Monty. I don't think really KT can make this happen on their own. Here's on the unscore, flashes forward, gets the snare, but nice equalizer, and Glacial Prison up to 3 people. Arrow on the side, Nagne has to jump out of the fight, and Roar at full health. Here he comes, headbutt backwards, but he's still ready for more. Frozen gets 1 kill, flash over from Tucson to keep Fixer lined up, and Nagne has to jump out far, far away from the fight. Score just has to sit back and watch alongside. Someday, Roar didn't even have to do that much damage that fight. He just had to remain untouched, really.
And he got a really nice condemn, though, onto LeBlanc, knowing that LeBlanc was going to be coming over the wall. And that'll be it. Looks like a surprising upset 2-0 for LZIM tonight.
Wow. Well, looks like they're going to back out for now. They want to play it super safe. They're very new to this whole feeling of, we're about to win, I get to talk to your team.
I'm glad to see IM putting up much more of a fight and playing a composition smoothly, however, because they were not the same team that we saw in the qualifier. This is much more what we expected from this squad this season.
Yes. Chusin much more in tune with the team today, not going on. I mean, he had a couple mistakes in the jungle, but just a couple, and also some miscommunication from both sides, I'm sure. But this time around, really playing with the team, and that combo between the Equalizer and the Glacial Prison, that's what we talked about earlier, really worked out very well.
Now Banner of Command for Tucson as well. They have, and take a look at this condemn. Beautifully played by Roar.
Man, Nagne just has to flash out after that one. And of course we see 3 people locked up.
Well, there's no follow-up. It's so easy to kite out a composition that just runs at you. So like no gap closers, just Sivir and Rengar running at your face.
Well, Nagne is still on duty to save the game. He can't 100-0 Ignar either at this point.
Now they have to deal with a bannered minion on their last turret. That's not going to last very long. Here we go. Nagne still trying to get in on the side.
Yeah,
but
Nagne can't get rid of that minion
it's
either.
over. It's one of those games where IM might actually win with a gold deficit.
Oh, very convincingly, too, at that point. I mean, they're grouping up so well. Here comes Score once again. They jump on, but look at the Equalizer denying the 4 people being burned down by the Equalizer. But a double kill for Nagne. He catches Roar as Roar separates from the team a little too far, trying to get away from Fixer. And KT pushes LZIM back. They get 4 kills, a minute down. Apple just trying to waste as much time as possible because there is an open inhibitor in that top lane.
Sumday's on a mission.
Yeah, he's just running towards that, and so is Nagne. Apple eventually going to go down to Arrow. How much can they get out of this? 40 seconds left, 30 seconds until Ignar, though.
Well, right there, what happened was IM grouped up, and they got all hit by a distortion Ludenzeko proc, and that just melted them.
Yeah.
So they bunched up, very unfortunate positioning. Fixer is on tanking duties. They're going to get an inhibitor in the top side, so a new lease on life for KT, at least for a few minutes. They have a dragon lead, too. This could be a lot worse. Meanwhile, Sivir, are they going to get 2 inhibitors?
Well, 15 seconds left. Ignar is alive. Yeah, with Arrow
Ignar,
there.
well, I mean,
Hey, man.
that's not going to do much. Oh, no, they're not going to be too
only
greedy.
3 seconds left for Roar and Tucson, and of course those
Home guard's
3.
on everybody, too. So, yeah, that was the right choice. Just back off. Wow. Well, IM, even with their double Banshees veil, managed to get absolutely wrecked by Nagne.
Yeah, and Fixer going in, preventing them from escaping altogether and drawing out some of the abilities from Ignar there allows Nagne to just go in freely and then come out after doing the damage. So, good team fight. Of course, Score jumping on them too, and that's another way to play this, is Score and Ignar, or Fixer rather, jumping in first, trying to take out those CC abilities, allowing Nagne to go in freely, and then Someday and Arrow kind of doing their own thing. But at the end of the day, it's
not reliable.
Yeah, it's not reliable, and you still have to kind of rely on just Arrow and Someday being able to fend for themselves if you're going to do that. Now, Dragon is up. 4th stack for KT if they can get it. Nagne and Score already prepared for a flank. Arrow on ward clearing duty. Stacks the shield back up off the ward. Now, where Sunday's right there too in front of the Dragon. Dragon has been leashed by LZIM. They have the Scuttle Crab. Nagne distortion over the wall. We have just a few seconds for that cooldown.
I don't think they want to keep leashing this Dragon right now.
Yeah, KT does not want to sit there tanking it. Arrow loses that shield on his Bloodthirster.
Score's not even there.
Score is coming over now, though. Yeah, Score went back in the middle of that. Trying to figure out what he went back for. I'm sure he bought an item.
He's here.
He's ready, very far away though. He can't get the movement speed from Arrow either. Well, both teams agreeing to just take care of the Dragon first before they move on. Descendant's not going to hit, so everyone backs off once again. Nagne considering pushing down that bottom lane, so LZIM says, all right, let's just burst it down. There's the equalizer. Who's going to get the Dragon? It's going to be Someday. 4 stacks for KT. Arrow doing free damage. Nagne comes in with the distortion and the chain. Not going to hit, but Arrow gets the kill onto Tucson. Someday just drawing out some damage up front. Arrow gets caught by the hail of arrows, so there's the burst coming in from Frozen. Roar at 100% health. The Trinity Force going to do damage, and here's the headbutt pulverize just to allow his teammate Nagne to run away. Someday and
they're in
Nagne
a ward.
and Score. Uh-oh. Goodbye, Score. Gets it. Nagne waiting on the side, though, but they're going to get flanked. Oh, the Zonia's bait from Apple. It's going to be a double kill. Frozen and Apple clean up that one. And Someday all alone.
I don't have words for this game, Jobra.
I don't either. Generally I have some explanation and some words for any type of game, but this one is just...
I bet this is how you wanted to cast your last game in Korea, didn't you? This is everything you dreamed of.
My last memory of Champions is just a disaster from KT Rolster, giving me a peek into solo queue once again, reminding me what life will be like.
See, when you pick like the LPL, you become the LPL, Chobra. That's what I've learned.
Well, Baron up in 120. LZIM playing this very carefully as they don't have exactly the best front line. They want to get caught diving that tower as Arrow and Fixer spawn. And pretty sure Tucson's ability right there just put down a great dark rectangle, overcasting the map.
That guy's face was how I feel, too.
Oh, man. The last day of my cast was going so well with SKT and Samsung. Samsung taking a game, Faker shows up, just hard dominates the 3rd game, and then...
I don't even know what is going on in this series.
Well, at the very least, I can say I was there to witness LZIM win a match against KT. that is what I'll take away from
It's a good upset, and I admire LZIM's ability to keep themselves in these games and play so confidently when behind in gold.
They're still behind.
They played the comp well this time.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that sure, KT has made some mistakes too, but LZIM also understanding that they need to force these mistakes from KT, and that's what they're doing. It's not that KT's randomly throwing these mistakes around. LZIM is just not giving them another option.
And also, I don't even know, KT has had such a great pick and ban phase, and like I don't even know what is happening tonight with their picks, because this is not a stable composition that you choose.
I just still don't understand the Rengar. I feel like an Evelyn would be better here.
Oh, well,
there's the
banned.
pink card.
It was banned.
Oh, right, yeah, the Evelyn was banned, you're right.
Really, any meta jungler would have been better.
Yes. I think Nautilus would have been better.
Lee Sin would have been better.
I do think Lee Sin would have been better, and Score plays Lee Sin. I'm surprised they didn't pick that. But an easy Baron and an army of crazy-looking super minions charging in. And there's a Sorcerer minion being empowered by the Banner of Command. That's Arrow's duty to get rid of that one, as LZIM comes marching in the front door of KT's base. KT needs an absolute miracle just to then clear off 8 super minions or more as the next wave starts to march in. LZ doesn't even have to do anything. They just need to poke and wait for the super minions to do the job. Nagne trying to put down what poke he can, trying to force LZIM out of this, but IM really wants to finish the game at this point. Fixer trying to keep all his minions healed up. Someday going in. Nagne goes in for a lot of burst, but it's not really showing on the enemy health bars. There's the equalizer across the board onto the minions. Apple does get overheated as he just Zonias under the tower, and Fixer has been chained of corruption, and Nagne just has to run away. Someday gets a kill onto Roar, though. Roar is down. Someday runs out. Fixer goes in for the headbutt pulverize, and Nagne eventually goes down. That goes a little too deep for that burst. The Nexus is open, but Someday gets another kill. He's on a killing spree. Well, Monty, I am glad I have an action-packed game as possibly my last game here at OGN for League of Legends. This is absolutely a beautiful mess from both teams, really.
This is one of the worst Champions games I've ever seen, Joe. I am like almost in physical pain from this game.
You know, in that last fight, you know, when you're playing, okay, when you cast play-by-play, you generally have enough game knowledge to know what's going to happen in a game. And that's how you decide how you're going to escalate your tone. And in that last fight, I was pretty confident I was going to end it by saying, and LZIM finally takes the game, but then suddenly Someday's like killing spree, and I'm like, okay.
Well, that's because they saw the equalizer dropped, and then there was basically a free ticket into the back line.
Oh, man.
And like you said, all they had to do was sit there and shoot them with piercing arrows until they won the game. There's no need to drop all the big ults.
Well, Apple really just wanted to help clearing those minions. And he did. He cleared the minions, but didn't clear the champion. So now we're down to yet another Dragon Fight. Dragon Fight number 7.
Score has a Guardian Angel.
Oh, yes, he'll maybe do a little more. Now, he has a Locket, too. Much more helpful than he was 30 minutes ago. Although the Locket, not exactly super helpful. I mean, it's helpful against the Equalizer, but it is double AD.
This, again, the saddest thing here is if IM wins this, they are actually going to win this game with a gold deficit.
For almost the entirety of the 50 minutes. Well, the Dragon has spawned, and looks like LZIM will just take that easily unless Nagne comes in for another steal, but LZIM not giving that option to him this time with Ignar on the backside.
Ooh, the inhibitors are back up.
Oh, man. KT has another window. Do your thing someday.
It's terrifying that is actually a true statement.
3 stacks of Dragon here on LZIM. No turrets for KT, not a single one left on the entire map. Arrow takes a piercing arrow to the face. Nagne. Nagne's still doing decent damage even onto Tucson. That was only a single sigil onto that front line of LZIM. If LZIM gets a little too crazy, oh, look at this. Apple goes down to 50% health. Nagne also has so much cooldown right now that LZIM is so scared because all right, they need to open up with their ultimates, but if one ultimate goes wrong,
yes,
it's
they will get destroyed. Their backline will die. This is true.
Oh,
Apple actually has to TP back in after getting chunked by Nagne.
and Nagne's like, welcome back. Doesn't get the full combo this time, though, as he sees the other members joining right around that teleport. Ping port right outside the base, and here we go. Score jumps in with the Guardian Nation. Equalizer comes about, and everyone's already over it. Tucson jumps onto Nagne. Roar is at 100% health in the back along with Frozen, but Arrow gets to shut down onto Apple. Somebody's onto Roar. Arrow gets a double kill. Somebody running out of the fight, and Frozen gets to shut down onto somebody eventually, and there is literally no damage left until Nagne comes back in, but Frozen and Roar are still alive. Score still even has his Guardian's Angel.
But they can't kill the Nexus until they kill the inhibitor.
Yes, they
So
got the
there's the
inhibitor,
inhibitor.
and we'll be looking at Baron fight number 4 or number 3. I don't even know anymore. Oh man!
Why?
Oh, this is great.
If
I
KT
love
wins this game, it will be so insanely epic.
it will be like the biggest reverse upset of an upset.
Isn't it upset? They're 5,000 gold ahead. Sure, it's like 6 item time and it doesn't really matter, but they've been 5,000 to 7,000 gold ahead pretty much this whole game with their really bad composition.
Well, okay, here's the other impressive thing, though, is that they've been holding onto this base with no turrets for quite some time now with a non-team fight composition. I mean,
I've only seen like an 11 turret comeback that I can easily think of once, and that was CJ Blaze
yeah.
doing it to CJ Frost when Captain Jack went hero mode on Blood Boiled Caitlyn.
Yeah,
That was like two years ago.
Yeah, and it was super epic. That's the reason why so many people remember it. You just don't see that happen. And at that time, we were all saying, well, it only makes sense because there was that blood-boiled hyper carry in the AD carry role, but don't really have that right now. Phantom Dancer in place of Boots for Arrow, and Zephyr in place of Boots for Roar. And Roar still holding on to...
Yeah, Trinity Force on the Sivir also. This is as late game as you can get a build.
Yeah, Trinity Force has been sold some time ago by Roar. We stopped caring about that at one point too. It just didn't matter. I mean, sure, it's a little situational, and you can, if you had a Guardian's Angel and it's been popped, you can trade that out and things like that.
Yeah, Scimitar very interesting on Fizz too. Deal with the crowd control. You really do need that.
Yeah, actually, I think that's a really good
It is
pickup.
a really good item.
Yeah, he has that Blade of the Ruin King, of course, again, just relying on that on-hit damage with the auto attacks. That really synergizes well with your W. All right, KT, they're leaving their base. It's been some time since they ventured this fall. Oh my goodness, somebody doesn't get hit by that sentence. And now everyone, we're just gonna flip the map 180 degrees and fight left to right. But the Baron has spawned, and LZIM can take this down super quickly. KT can't push the enemy base. So on the hunt, everyone rushing forward, and can he get the Baron? The box comes in, and the Baron goes over to LZIM. KT does not get an early kill. They don't get Ignar right away. Arrow's gonna go down eventually. He has to flash out. Somebody does get a kill onto Frozen, though. And look at this, Roar on the run from Nagne. He's trying to lifesteal. Nagne gets the kill. Where's the damage left on LZIM?
Can they
Apple
finish?
has to run away.
Someday
KT.
has GP.
Somebody's gonna go back. The fans are going wild for KT.
Oh,
KT should be able to finish this.
Brave. I think they can.
Yeah, they're just gonna go, even if the turret's there, that's where the minions are. Somebody making the right choice. It's just Apple, no equalizer. Ignar, sure, he's there, but it doesn't really matter at this point when all 5 members miraculously made it out alive for KT Rolster, and they will get the win and tie up the series in this best of 3 against Longzhou IM. It's going to be tied 1-1. We have tears of, I don't know if it's joy or just disappointment in the League of Legends that we've seen in game number 2. But KT with an epic 56-minute win.
Well, that is one of the few games where all 22 towers went down on a map.
Wow, the only structure left standing
I
was
do
one
not
Nexus.
have words for that game, Chobra. It was very exciting. Exciting is a word I could use.
It was a blockbuster game, truly. It's one of those action blockbuster movies that come out that has no story plot. It's so terribly written, but it's just fueled with adrenaline.
That is a very apt description. We'll just leave it with that.
It's a Michael Bay League of Legends game right there. All the fireworks coming out.